After the accident,
I was stuck paying all these medical bills.
The Witherspoon Law Group understands that you didn't deserve what happened to you, but you do deserve justice.
They weren't just there for me, they fought for me.
I care about what my clients are going through. We are in the fight of their lives.
We don't just fight for you, we fight with you and make sure you get the compensation you deserve.
And that's why we do what we do. And what we do is win.
Call 844-WE-WIN-44.
Welcome to Winning Wednesday. I am so excited. I missed you all last week. I feel like a little piece of me was missing, but I did enjoy receiving your inboxes asking, where are you today? What's going on with Miss Iris in the city? Well, I miss you too. So I hope today guests make up for last week. Get your questions ready. I can't say enough about him. He is Kansas City's youngest funeral boss. So I have joining me today on the other side of I-70, Mr. Frank Savory of Savory and Sons Funeral Home.
Hey.
The legend in the making. Welcome, Frank.
Hey, it's an honor. It's certainly an honor to be on here with you. I'm happy. I feel like a kid in the candy store.
It's so excited to talk to you. I'm just so excited because I have a lot of conversations with you and I know all the wonderful things that you do. So I'm so excited to share this with my family and friends in the Kansas City community because, as you know, St. Louis is just right down the I-70 corridor. So we are neighbors in that aspect, right?
Yes,
Missouri,
ma'am.
one city, well, different cities, but same state. Well, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into this interview and learning more about the work that you do, the very important work that you do in the community. But tell us a little bit about Frank the man.
Well, I'm 30. I think I'm 32 years of age now. I believe, of course, I act older than what I am. I've been in the funeral business since the age of 6 years of age. Came up behind my father, Dwayne Harvey, who's been in the funeral business most of his life too as well. So I came up behind, I came up behind some pretty tough people. He was always on, and I started off. I always loved the funeral home, but my parents always made me go to school too as well. So I'm like, man, dang. So I started figuring out some stuff. So when I would get in trouble, my mom would make me go to the funeral home instead of being home and playing on the games and what have you and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, okay. So then it registered to me. All you have to do is get in trouble at school, and then you'll be able to go to the funeral home. So I started getting in trouble at school, and of course, my mom would send me to the funeral home and everything until she picked up on it and noticed that that's what I was doing. That was my game plan, to get in trouble, to go to the funeral home and stuff like that. And I used to think I was the coolest thing. My dad used to send hearses and lemons with bodies and just to pick me up because we would, maybe going on the service that day or something like that. And I just felt like the man, at school. People were like, man, you got limos and all these fancy cars picking you up. I'm like, yeah. That's what I get every day. So yeah, I have a beautiful I have a beautiful wife and we four beautiful children, 2 girls and 2 boys, 18, 9, 8, 2, and well, let's say 18, 9, 18,
Frank, you started a
9,
lot of things
8,
early.
and 2. Yeah. So here we have four beautiful children, and I am the founder of Savory and Sons Funeral Home here in Kansas City, Missouri, and we've been blessed beyond measure. That's all I can say.
Wow, well, that is exciting, and congratulations on your funeral home. I know it took a lot of hard work to get to that point, and we'll talk about some of the things that you had to do as a part of starting your own business. But 6 years old, you started hanging around the funeral home. So
Yes, ma'am.
what about the funeral business intrigued you?
At that age,
Yeah, at that age, what caught your attention the most?
it was the women.
At 6 years old, Frank?
Listen, it was the women. I was around older women, and they used to work at the funeral and stuff like that. And I was, I'm a little boy, so they was telling me they didn't think, anything of it. So they would had me help them pull up their knee highs and strap up different stuff,
Well, we
strap
know
up
that's
different
not
things.
we know that's not what you enjoy now. So let's just get
I,
right
I
into
know, I know, but
let's,
that was a joke. But check this out.
I know.
Honestly, it was the fact of seeing how my father and other people interacted with other families, especially a mother that would walk in that would be like just discombobulated, didn't know where to go, and even know where to start it with the whole funeral process. And then out of all of a sudden, my dad will come and he will the comfort that he gave to the families and what have you. It was incredible. It was incredible, and it blew my mind. And I said, man, you know what? I want to do that. I want to be that person to help families and what have you. So that was my passion. That was my goal, and that's what I wanted to do.
Well, you definitely help families there in the Kansas City community in a major way. Let's talk
Yes, ma'am.
a little bit about how your community work in your funeral business, how you bring them both together. Some of the things that you've experienced as a community leader, because I've been in Kansas City and I've seen you out there marching and yelling with people, and I'm like, Frank is such the advocate. So I've seen you in action on that end. You have a lot of, you know, political, I guess, friends that you make sure that you assist in getting their voices heard. So when you come across certain, I guess, tragedies in the community, how
Hmm.
have you worked, from the standpoint of being a community leader and bringing that leadership and business together?
Well, it's it's hard, honestly. Um, and I can say, man, it's by the help of God that have allowed me to do it, because you get a lot of backlash from a lot of different people. You have just like how people don't believe that you should mix church with politics. Same,
Mhm.
in the same instance, they don't believe that you should
Right.
mix the funeral industry with politics and stuff like that. But I believe that we as a culture, we have to start utilizing our resources in order to help, whether it's a black woman or a black male, to get into certain positions in the political field to help. Because we cry about gun laws, we cry about the crime and stuff like that. And true enough, we do know that there's people within our community that just don't give a care. They don't care at all, about us. And we cry so much, but instead of me sitting up there crying and standing on the sidelines singing "We Shall Overcome," I believe that we should use our resources to put people in those positions that can help us. You know what I mean? People that do care. If there's stuff that can be done, we can put people in place that can genuinely help us, but you have to be willing to do it. But a lot of people are so selfish. They're so selfish and they're so greedy that they don't want to help. So that's what got me involved in politics, and I really love it. I love the debates. I love the back and forth and all of that stuff, because I can go on and on and on and on and on. I should have been a lawyer, honestly, but I saw do something else. But yeah, yeah.
Well, you still have time, Frank. But definitely one of
No, 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 no.
no, you still have time. You can multitask. One of the things that I want to point out is that as a business owner and living in the community and having children in the community, we absolutely have to work together. So I commend you in
Hmm.
that aspect of it's not just political. You have to put the right people politically in place that's going to fight for the protection and the surveillance and things you need in the community to help keep people safe, in these public places that we pay our taxes. So I commend you on speaking up, because it all goes back to your line of business. If you having these things happen, then you have families that's faced with unforeseen situations, and some of those families are not financially prepared, right? So having the right people to take ownership, because we know a person like you have started raising funds, and I've seen on Facebook GoFundMe's to help families, put their loved ones to rest, because your heart is just that big. So it all goes together. So I really do commend you on being that voice and stepping out what is perceived as, you know, taboo in some areas. You just don't do that, but you absolutely have to get the changes you want to see. So with Kansas City and St. Louis as well being a high crime area, what are some of the things or packages that you have put together to help families, that are faced with those situations, but maybe on a fixed income and may not have life insurance?
The way that I operate here is I have packages that
Mhm.
that are affordable and what have you. But what I do is each one of my directors, I have them sit in. And I actually talk to each family and just ask the family to be real. Just be real with me. If you come to me and you tell me, hey, I don't have, I don't have money to do this, with this, and you know, it's my job as a professional uh, to put something together that will be satisfying to the family and that will still um, give that view as if the family has spent you know
Mhm.
thousands of dollars. Even the way that I've always operated, people that spend $10,000 have $4,000, spend $1,000. It's just all about honesty. It's a job as as professional to
Mhm.
put things together to allow families to be able to packages. If I know a family doesn't have $10,000 for a funeral, I'm not going to
Mhm.
sit up here and to come up with. I always tell my families what I don't want. I do not like my families. If you coming to me and dealing with me and allowing me to, and you trusting me with your loved one, one thing I pride myself on, I do not like my family to beg. I don't like them to go out begging for money or nothing like that, or what have you. I'll cut it out before I allow my families to go out and beg and stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm able to do that. People say, man, you're not gonna make money like that. That's the difference between me and everybody else. I'm not limited to get rich and all of that stuff like everybody else, because God has placed me in this position to be a blessing to people, and God has saw fit to make sure that all of these bills are paid. Everything is for my family and everything. I'm expanding. I just bought another building. I have now the three property. I have another property that's next to me. I bought that building now. We're
Oh,
doing renovations on that building right now. We're getting ready to make that another chapel and stuff. So God is certainly in the midst.
well, that is a blessing. Now, if you are in a tough industry, have you ever had to, or how do you handle situations when you arrive, or you get a call and it's a loved one or a close family member, or have you ever experienced that, and how do you handle it?
Um, I've quite a lot. In fact,
Hmm.
this past Saturday, I just recently had the homegoing celebration of one of my older cousins who was murdered here in Kansas City, Missouri. Um, I always pray. I always pray and ask God to help me out mentally because um, anytime someone passes in my family, my family, the burden don't the burden's not upon them, if it makes any sense. They automatically know, and they release everything to me, and allow me to deal with everything. They don't, they don't stress on it or anything. They're like, okay, well, my family call me Maine, so they're like, Maine, Maine got it. He's gonna take care of everything, and what have you. And them not knowing, they still put a heavy burden and the stress on me, because with the fact that this is my cousin that I have to dress and put in the casket and put makeup on and have presentable for my other family to come in. I have to deal with other family members too that have lost loved ones too as well. So it messes with me sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes. I pray a lot when it comes to me dealing with my own family, and I ask God to give me the strength. And He hasn't failed me yet, so I just keep
I
on
failed you
pushing.
yet,
I keep on
Frank.
pushing.
That's
I
right.
look at the fact everybody got to die. Everybody got to
Hmm.
die. You know,
Hmm.
and like I tell my family, I told them Saturday at the funeral. One thing about embalming tables, have no respect for person. Care who lays them, they don't care. They do
Hmm.
not care. It could be you, me, them, him, whoever, lolly dolly, and everybody. It does not care. So, with the help of God, man, I just keep on pressing. What's that song?
Just
Keep
keep
on
pushing, keep
pushing.
on pushing. You would pick some kind of you song from a movie. So you have such the personality, Frank. What are some other things that come along with that being a business owner? Like how heavy is it, or the pressures do you feel with for your employees and the people that you employ? What are some of the day-to-day pressures with owning a business for those that, because we have some viewers that of course we want to make sure that they know about your business in the Kansas City community, but you have some that's looking for that information. They see you as an inspiration. You 33 or in your 30s, owning a funeral home and uh, on your way to more property. So they're looking, for that information. So what is it for you to have employees? How do you deal with that aspect of business? How
Lord
heavy is
have
that
mercy.
load? How heavy is that load, Frank, for those that want to
It's
be involved? It's one thing when you got to worry about what goes in your belly, but tell us about when you looking at that overhead and the employees that's looking at you like, I'm hungry.
it's hard to be the funeral boss. I'm gonna tell you this. But
Somebody got to do
one
it.
thing about being the owner
Hmm.
and owning a funeral home, it's different from working for Amazon or for working for somebody else, because when you work for somebody else, you can choose on any given day to say that I'm not going to work, and
Hmm.
it's not your job to have to find somebody to fill in when you work, but when you work and everybody mysteriously calls in because they're not feeling their best or whatever the case may be, or they had something to take care of, the show still must go on.
Must go
So
on.
I have been in the position where I had to put the body up by myself in the
Hmm.
hearse, take the body to the church. Just thank God the pastor was there to help me get it on the take the body out, set it up in the church, uh, have service going. When two of the ushers got there, I gave them instructions, told them, hey, listen, y'all gonna be my lady attendants today. I'm gonna pay y'all. I need y'all to, take care of everything right here for me. I'll be back. Go get the limousine. Go pick the family up.
Just a
Bring the
one man
family to the church.
show.
Bring the church. And then I had to pray, and God sent me somebody. My mom's friend. He got off of work from Ford and came down to the church, He said, man, I'm not driving a limo. I said, that's fine. I don't need you to drive a limo. He got into the hearse though, drove the hearse to the cemetery for me while I drove the family in the limousine. We made it work. Then had to come back and grab other deceased and take him to the church and set him up, because we had a night service and stuff like that. So owning the business is not as it's fun, but it's not fun because at the end of the day, the days that you are down, I think I was sick with COVID, but my body I'm enough to that I was sick with COVID, but it didn't mean nothing because I still had to work. Like it didn't mean not one thing. I couldn't close the funeral home down. I was talking to families. They was like, "Hey, Mr. Frank, I was trying to see about you going to get my uncle." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm a little under the weather right now." "Oh, baby, I hope you get better. So when can you up?" Told him on my death. you know?
So no days.
And you
So no
still,
days.
no
No days off, and be ready to play.
I don't have no company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pick up all the people. Every person has to pick them up by myself. Whether it's a house call, whether they pass at a hospital, whatever the case may be, I go get them. I do it. Like I do it. I'm on every last one of my funerals. There's not one funeral that I do not attend. I show my face on every last one of my funerals. It's us. It's a must. Have I made mistakes and stuff like that? Yeah, but and it's just because of the lack of staff, that I don't have. Another thing that I'm running into too is you have to deal with your friend at Amazon. They'll go to the man and he give them all this paperwork to fill out. They'll fill it out for him to get the job and do all of that. But when you tell them to fill out a W-2, a 1099, and all that stuff, oh man, I don't want to do that. And you can't just pay me under the table. I got taxes. Like when the IRS comes, I'm gonna be the one in trouble. No, the thing is, it's so disappointing and it's hurtful because our people will, you know what I mean. But then they go to another job and they'll fill out all the paper. They can tell them to fill out that if you don't make such, you're automatically terminated and stuff. Fill all that stuff out. But when you ask them to fill out stuff that's going to help your business, they don't want to do it. So that's another thing that I'm running into now. I have like aunties that's been working and they've been fine and everything. That when you get stuff in order and you want to start doing stuff, legally and stuff like that, you tell them to do this and that or whatever. Now it's a problem and everything. Well, I'm trying to, now all of a sudden they trying to get disability and everything, but you've been working, and wasn't worried about disability and stuff, so, and being a business owner can sometimes, devour friendships too and relationships, whether it's family or not. So it's a lot that comes with this thing. Everybody say they want it and stuff like that until it's crunch time, but it's a lot. Here it is. What you're gonna have situations where you can't feed yourself when you don't have $1 to buy a burger, but you got to give thousands of dollars to everybody else so they can, so they can eat because they work for you. You have to make sure that they get money, but you have to be the sacrifice. It's been days where I have not had $1 in my pocket to go to get a burger. Like I roll by McDonald's, like, dang man, I wonder how the homeless people do it. Do I just go to a window and just, would they even give me a burger, with a suit on or whatever and stuff? But yeah, seriously, it's
I totally get it. So basically,
it's a lot.
You saying be ready to play any position.
Yeah.
No excuses. And be in it to win it. Yeah. So
here's
what
the
are
thing.
some goals? So what are some goals for the funeral boss? Of Kansas City? What are some of your goals being in the funeral industry? What do you want to be in the funeral industry? What do you want to be known as?
Um,
or for?
I want to be known for helping any and everybody, no matter what the circumstances is, whether it's dealing with death or not dealing with death. Like I try to do anything that involves helping people. I want to be that person. Like I started a grief counseling session here. We're doing on second Fridays of each month and stuff like that for people that's dealing with death. Because a lot of times, us in the funeral industry, especially the black homes, once we do the service, it's over with. No, I don't want that. I want families that's actually still just dealing with this stuff because it's bad enough that the people that tell them that they're gonna be there for them and all that stuff, they just pay out of their life. So that mother or that father or that grandmother, they're still stuck with, uh, with that broken heart. And
Yeah.
I allow them to come into one setting to hear. They may hear Sister Harris talking about how she coped with dealing with her son, and that may help Sister Jenkins. You know what I mean? That she may could take something from Sister Harris that can help her with her coping experience and stuff like that. So you have to allow them to be around other people um that's dealing with the same problems as them. So I want to be known for helping any and everybody. Check this out. You have to be willing to understand that uh, you're gonna be burnt by people that you help, but you cannot let that stop you from being a good person. I've
That's
helped
right.
people. I've helped people out and brought them up here and let them pick up trash around my funeral home. And uh, somebody broke in my garage, and broke in my van, stole my Benz key, took my Benz and wrecked my Benz and ripped everything out of my car. Was I upset? Yeah, I was upset, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from being a good person. You know,
Right.
I can't. I can't. So I
Because
prayed
God
about it,
is
and
watching our posture and our heart, not people. Right?
yeah,
So when you do
yeah,
it for the right reason, it's more less about people, more about your purpose. And the only person that has designated purpose is God. So I try to do everything as pleasing to Him, and I say it all the time. As long as it's pleasing to God, it's going to unplease somebody.
yeah. I got that happened to me, and I turned around. I said, you know what, God, I ain't gonna get mad. I ain't gonna get mad. I'm not gonna try to take it to the streets and none of that stuff. It's probably just one of these homeless guys or whatever. I said, I'm fine. I'm really leaving it, giving it to you. I got to check the next. I got to check. I ain't gonna say the next day. Probably the next week, $30,000. You
Double
know.
for your trouble.
So, and it wasn't even from insurance, from the car or nothing.
That's what
So,
I said. Double for your trouble. Something that you wasn't
God,
even looking forward to. So that's how it works.
yeah.
But so you spoke of your father. Any other funeral homes or funeral directors that you look up to or look to for advice? Like who are your big brothers in the industry?
Frank Savory.
That's it, Frank Savory. Okay.
No, I got one. I have one. I have one. Mike Atkins. That's Serenity. That's
Mhm.
Serenity Funeral Home here in Kansas
Mike
City, man.
Atkins, he's a very nice guy.
Love him to death, man. Uh, uh, good brother, man. Good brother.
Because you have to
Yeah,
learn from each other, right? In the industry, a lot of times we can save each other mistakes when we just share information and best practices. So
yeah. And he helps
always
me
good
out.
to have a person
He
that
helps
you
me out a
can
lot. I was going renting the cars and everything like that. He called me one day. He said, "Man, listen, uh, man, stop renting cars. Don't rent no cars no more." I said, "Man, what you talking about? Man, I got funerals, man. I have to. What you talking?" He said, "Man, come up to my funeral home tomorrow." I said, "Man, listen, I don't have time to be sitting up here just talking. Man, come up here tomorrow." So I said, "Oh, all right." I went there the next day, and I had a hearse. You know,
see. Look at that. Just because
I
your
had
heart
I had a
posture,
hearse.
you
He said, he
congratulations.
said, he said, I want you to have this. He said, because I want. He said, he said, you have to succeed. You know, it's been days where I wanted to jump off the top of this building, and he shared the same experiences and everything with me. He was like, bro, he said, you know how many times uh, I I was struggling, bro. I didn't have no money where I was, you know, eating, ramen noodles and stuff like that, bro, because I couldn't buy anything to eat and stuff like that. I said, well, even when I have money, I still eat them. So I don't,
Me too. I put the
I can't
onion in
relate to that. So yeah. But
well,
that's my brother. That's my brother, and I would say that's the only person I look up to in the funeral industry here in Kansas City. So that's it.
okay. Well, that's good, Frank. Well, I want to thank you. And the time went fast. You have to come back because it's so much more that I want to talk about as it relates to business and growing and just Kansas City and the things and how you're working within your area. So look forward to seeing you again soon. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, have a winning Wednesday and remember, you determine the outcome.
Man.
After the accident,
I was stuck paying all these medical bills.
The Witherspoon Law Group understands that you didn't deserve what happened to you, but you do deserve justice.
They weren't just there for me, they fought for me.
I care about what my clients are going through. We are in the fight of their lives.
We don't just fight for you, we fight with you and make sure you get the compensation you deserve.
And that's why we do what we do. And what we do is win.